Victoria, in terms of the local area, that polarization between people that have had opportunities and do have opportunities and people that don't. As someone that's working on the ground with people, helping those in need, what are some of the things that we really need to consider that we haven't properly considered up until this point?
I mean, I think it starts so early. Some of the issues Felicity mentioned earlier on that were important priorities for her are all interlinked. So when we talk to local schools who have very, very high numbers of children on free school meals, in fact, the one I'm thinking of has 3 times the national average, and we're talking to them about the performance of those children, that there's obviously, unsurprisingly, a correlation. Those kids do not perform well academically. And when you dig into that, there's a number of reasons. Some of it's lack of food, not being able to concentrate because they're hungry. Some of it's going back to really overcrowded accommodation. So there's no opportunity to do homework. There's no desk, there's no computer, there's no peace and quiet. And actually compounding that, in some cases, those children are expected to do childcare when they get home, look after younger children. So all those things mixed together in quite a complicated way to mean it's not as simple enough as just kind of finding a course for somebody to go on. They have to have a whole range of things working for them to enable them to make the most of opportunities. But I think opportunities for women and girls is particularly interesting. And we've been talking to the newly merged Morley College, which has got a site in North Kensington and is going through a refurbishment process, about how the courses that it will be offering at the end of that can be more balanced, to make sure that if there are tech courses and science courses, they are equally kind of balanced between young men as young women. And that's something we'd be really keen to keep working with them on. I'm on the stakeholder advisory group for that. And whether that means running women-only courses or subsidising childcare, there might be lots of different reasons why women aren't signing up to those courses. And we need to really understand what they are and make sure we remove some of those barriers.
And David, from your perspective, obviously there are a heap of different issues that exist locally. What can we do? I guess, are there any other ways that the businesses, as the token businessman on this discussion, you'll just be asked all the business questions, okay, but I'm sure that's fine. But are there other things that the business sector can do to help charities right now? Because I mean, one of the other issues we're going to have coming out of this, with no London Marathon, with no summer fetes and flower shows and all of the other things that would happen right now, raising money for charities, none of this stuff is happening. So that it's not only a desperate and acute need right now to help people, but there's going to be a massive hole in the balance sheets of these charities. So I'm just wondering if, do you think people are aware of that? Do you think people, I mean, obviously there's a hell of a lot of problems right now, but do you think people are stopping to consider that? And if and when they do, what do you think businesses can come together to do over the medium, longer term? Because there's going to be a huge shortfall that needs to be addressed, not just financially, but in terms of technology and staff and skills and just broader support that goes beyond simply writing a check, which obviously is fantastic, but that there are many, as Victoria says, many other things that will need to be that charities will need support with, whether it is tech, whether it is having people on hand to help and everything else.
Yeah, good point. And I think the timing is key. I mean, it's very popular at the moment to go out at 8 o'clock and applaud our NHS workers and carers, but we should remember that going forward. You must also remember, though, it's a very challenging time for most businesses. We're fortunate. We're part of, at LMAX Group, we're part of essential financial markets infrastructure, so we have to stay open. The government asks us to stay open. Our regulator, the FCA, asks us to stay open. We stay open. My first obligation really is to the employees and staff and families of LMAX Group. We have stood behind them. No one's been affected. Only 5% have to come to the office at any one time. No one uses public transport. No one's been furloughed. We've had to use no government grants, but it's likewise, we did see this need in our borough, and we saw this need in charity. So, we stepped up. I hope more businesses will do the same, but not all of them can. So if they can't give money, they can give time. I mean, there's a lot of lawyers out there, for example, I know are giving their time pro bono.
And those lawyers have clients, don't they, David, as well? Let's be honest.
Say that again?
Those lawyers have clients. They've all got networks, so people can use their networks.
So that's it. And I mean, people reached out to me. I mentioned something we were doing with the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital and the tablets. And I have friends at big tech companies, and I know they've already done it. And I know that they've made various pledges to donate tablets and technology devices. Maybe I can work with my clients. Maybe I can work with my tech suppliers down the line to aid charities. I mean, short term, if you can write a check, write a check. If you can't write a check, do the 2.6 miles or 26 miles or whatever it takes. Embark on something. But let's commit to this long term, because and Felicity knows this, the government knows this, the world knows this. We're not going to get over this quickly. Right? Economically, it's going to take years to get over it, and the charity sector will also take years to recover.
What about something? What about
the support they've given? But we as a population are going to have to commit to this for longer than 3 weeks, 6 weeks, or 6 months.
But what about something radical, like half a percentage point onto corporation tax that goes to charities?
Let's do it. Honestly. I call it the NHS one. Let's go for it. I mean, you've got number one on your list if you want to raise the petition, right? LMAX Group will sign up now, right? You can add 1% to my corporation tax. I'll sign now, okay, to do that. As long as the businesses have control of where it goes, right? An approved list of charities, let's do it. And let's have an opt-in for employees. Likewise, I'm an employee as well as a business owner. I'll opt into that as well. Let's do it, and let's direct it to the people in need. Let's direct it to the localities. Let's direct it to the carers and the NHS staff. And whilst I'm there, why don't we go for it, right? If you look at the stimulus packages, there's 1.5 million people employed by the NHS. Well, okay, why don't we give them all £2,000 now, right? I'll do the maths for you. That's 300 million. That's nothing, right? That's less than 10% of the less than 1%, sorry, of the stimulus package issue. Let's do that now, and then let's give them a long-term pay rise as well.
Yeah,
but this is the thing,
it's very, as you say, it's very easy to go out on a Thursday night and clap. But if we're that committed to the NHS, we should be supporting them really in a day-to-day basis.